All right, welcome everybody to our June 17th board meeting. I'll call to order at 6:36. We have a quorum here. We are meeting at secondary because our primary is being painted. Yeah.
Getting a little facelift.
Yep. So happy Father's Day for the dads out there and the gentlemen who are fatherly spirits and take care of our kiddos. Appreciate you. Hope you had a good Father's Day. Yeah. And hopefully everyone's having a good start to the summer and staying away from this intense heat when they can. Yeah, so let's go through the agenda. So everything's out on board docs. Let me just make sure I've got everything correct here. So we'll have our time for public comment, and we have our updated policies out there. We'll go over our meeting minutes from May 13th. We have a discussion vote for board officers right after that. Then we'll turn over to the administration team. And we've got overall updates, a discussion on the secondary campus schedule. Heather, I'm not sure if that's discussion or vote there.
Oh, no, yeah, we're gonna discuss it, yeah.
Okay, no vote needed.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, I can update that. All right. Approval of auditor extending the current auditor's contract. Creation of auditor selection committee for 25-26. And then any update on goals. Anything else there? That sound okay? Okay, I'm not sure if Karen's on.
I didn't see her.
Okay, I don't know if they get together over the summer. But we have a PTO update if there is any. There might not be any since we are now on summer break. Kevin Stone, finance update. I know Kevin's not going to be with us. There we go.
We have Lily. Hi.
Finance update.
Kevin, and you're like, oh, like.
Then we have some additional board discussion topics in here. Stacy, there's some things that were put in here to discuss about board accessibility engagement with school leaders. Just to piggyback off of our last board meeting, just further flesh out this volunteer fair during Meet the Teachers, since we are going to be on break in July. I want to make sure that we're on the same page for that in August. And then 25-26 board meeting schedule. We're ready to discuss that. Then review our board goals as we wrap up 24-25, committee updates, and then the executive committee update on our leadership structure. And then Stacy has any closing words. Did I miss anything?
I think that's all the things, and everything else we needed to vote on, right?
No, because the mental health plan
what I
has
was
not
gonna-
been released yet.
Okay, that was my only.
Okay. So we're good? Yep. All right. So that takes us to our public comment. If anybody has anything that they would like to bring forward based on our agenda, or at the time of the agenda, we've switched things up. They can also type in the Teams chat. Or I guess you're a guest as well if you have any public comment. You see anybody in the chat there, Kate? Nope. Okay. All right, moving on then, we will look to approve our May 13th board minutes, which are visible there in board docs for you guys to review from May 13th.
Yeah, that was a long one, so good job. But I didn't see anything that needed altered.
Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the May board meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Minutes confirmed.
All right, that moves us to our discussion vote on board officers.
Yeah, so we can look at tonight is Brett Casey's last evening with us. He has officially maxed out his time with us and he can no longer come back.
Taking me out of here.
But, no, I mean, like, just personally for me, I don't know how I would have rolled into this process without you, right? Like, it was, I was a little dove under the wing for quite a while, so it was nice to have your guidance and your leadership, to just help guide me in through that process. So I really do appreciate all the extra support you provided me personally as being a new bit board member, and then as president, vice president, and the whole dynamic. So greatly appreciate all of that. Just
Been a good
personally
run.
for me. Yeah, yeah. I brought a picture. Let's see. Put it on this one. Because why not, right? Just so we can.
Are you sharing?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I can show it this way.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Thought you were gonna
I
share
can
in
share it in the
Zoom.
group, but I guess I could screen share. But
Oh,
here's
yeah.
one of our old school board we had our movie theater downtown, and that
Uh-huh.
was like, this was back in 2020. Let me see what the picture was. I have the date on it.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. Yeah, September 17th, 2019.
Yeah.
That was us. Babies. I feel like I look so young there. How did I-
So we screened the documentary at that movie
Yeah.
theater.
Oh,
one
yeah.
night. So we've done that once, and then we talked about doing it again. Like,
Yeah.
it's a great documentary.
It is.
Everybody hasn't seen it.
I haven't been able to find it. I don't know where it is. So we need to, I don't know where we could find it. I can find it in any of like our email documents.
Really?
Maybe I have to reach out to the production company on it in order for us to get it. It's not on our YouTube channel.
It's not?
Happy look there too. Mm-mm.
Are you talking about the video that I watched when I first came in, where how it all started?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because it
It's there
was.
somewhere. I'll find it.
We
If
need
not,
to
we
get
can
that
ask Josh.
too, because I think it was on the website at one point.
Mm.
I remember seeing it on the website,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did?
and well, not the new website, but the
Oh, the old.
Yeah,
one.
so I would say he has it.
Okay.
It's
Kristen
just-
was in it, right? That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because when I first came on, I remember watching it.
Yeah, and I would like all board members to watch it. And for those who haven't, I want them to watch it. It's just a good description of the history and how, things have progressed over the years. I mean, that's 6 years ago. And it's changed so much in that time period, but there was a whole bunch of years before those 6 years to even get us to that point. So, yeah, so we definitely want to find that and get it out there, and maybe even look at another community event where we get to screen that again too, right? Like just for our new families
We
to
did another screening of it one night on the
the lanai or the
on the side of the
yes, the
multi-purpose room.
Mhm.
Everybody sat on the basketball court like on a Friday
Yeah.
night, and they had pizza. It's
Yeah,
just a good time to get people out. It's a good reminder of like
yeah,
who we are and where we've come. So
and we
I
have a
would
lot of
encourage
new
you to keep
families
that up.
and things, so
if we can't find it for some reason, Josh Crease,
Yeah.
is the guy that made it with his company.
Steven's on a cruise.
Yeah,
so
we
he's
always-
back. I won't bother him now.
no, that works. But yeah, you can't see here, we brought a little snacks. I have a little flower kind of plant for you to take home with you tonight, because I think that you've just helped so many. I hope you can't kill that one. It's like, it's hard. It's very, very hard.
Sounds like a challenge.
Yeah.
Just have Zoa water it like every once a month and it'll live.
Yep.
But you've helped so many people grow, and the school to continue to grow and foster, the vision of keeping that Montessori principle, but yet like having an eye for, who we are in this little nook of Ocoee too, right? And so it's just a little symbol of that growth that you've helped to mold here and on both campuses. So
I appreciate that, and maybe I'll say a few words at the end. If you
Yeah.
don't mind. I had some
Yeah.
parting thoughts to share, so
yeah, absolutely.
I would appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But that does vacate a vice president.
Go ahead, wait.
But like, so I've served with you for 2 years.
Yeah,
And I wholeheartedly agree with your ability to grow others. Like I've
Mhm.
just like observed, probably not formally or told you, but I observed like how you think about things, and you bring us back to like the core point like many times. And so we'll miss you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Have a really,
It's been 9 years, so it's a bittersweet time, but I think this place is in good hands. This is a good team. Like I've been fortunate in all my experience here on this board to work with some really good people, and I think this is as good a team as we've had in any of the years I've been involved with it. So I feel like we're leaving it in very capable hands. We've got good leaders here. We've got a good administration team that, we all know that this school has come through many ups and downs over the years, but that's what makes us who we are. We've always been able to persevere and overcome and find the solution and be in a building like this, which I would have never imagined like that we'd have a second campus like years ago. So I think we're gonna be a good place. This school's got a great future ahead of it. So I'll give you guys some thoughts on the FG. If I can say my piece.
Don't cry now. Yeah, so we will be vacating a vice president role, so we will need to fill a vice president role. I would like to nominate that Marissa be moved into that vice president role. She has proved herself over and over and over and just done a great job with the secretary role, and that's a tough, that's a training role unlike any other.
don't scare Kate.
I did it.
Deep breath.
I did it for a year too.
And so like if you could survive the secretary role, I think you can survive anything. But I think Marissa's always bringing us back to and keeping the things just focused on what's important for the school. So I think she would be a good advocate for the vice president's role.
Yeah, I agree, Marissa. I so admire your calm,
Oh, wow.
your calm leadership. I just feel like you exude the Montessori spirit, and I think you'd be a wonderful vice president.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely agree.
And then that would vacate a secretary role, which I think I would like to nominate Kate George to take over for that secretary role and really kick off those training wheels and step into a different kind of executive team position and guide the process. So that is the plan. But we can vote on those individually. So we'll start with Marissa. I'm nominating her. Anybody to second Marissa as the vice president position?
I would second that motion.
Okay,
100%.
all right. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of moving Marissa to vice president?
I
Aye.
I
Sarah and Carla. Any opposed? All right, congratulations, Marissa. You are our new vice president for the board.
Congratulations.
And then I will nominate Kate George for our new secretary role. Do I have a
I will
second?
second.
Oh, Marissa will second that. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so congratulations, Kate George is now our secretary. So enjoy the training process. Yeah, so that is exciting. That is exciting. And we did get to meet with board candidate tonight and have an interview as well. So do we have that on the agenda?
A vote?
Yes.
No, I don't.
Okay.
We can.
Do we think we're good to move forward, right?
Okay,
Any,
sure.
any opposed?
No.
No? Jake. So we also
Talk
have,
about you in front of you.
yeah, let's talk right here.
Perfect.
Maybe we can
Full
summarize.
transparency side.
Yeah.
Summarize for sure.
Yeah, so we met, let me pull up in here. Sure. Change my picture here. Arzania, is that correct, Simon? Did I pronounce that correct?
Arzania.
Arzania. So we've met with Simon Arzania. Both Marissa and I have met with him individually. And then tonight we did the interview process for him and the board candidate. As a board candidate, he is professionally both an attorney and a real estate Agent, thank you for that word. I was gonna say broker, but then I know that that's where you're looking to go next. He also will have an incoming fourth grader, for, who would be attending our school moving forward. But I think that he brings a lot of professional experience. He's served on multiple boards, in different realms. I think he said he's fluent in 5 languages. So that's, I mean, like, hopefully we may need that. I don't know. We may. Not sure, but if anybody needs anything translated, well, I mean, you can go to him. But just a great candidate, calm leader, very transparent and clear, which is always a positive contribution for our team. But interview went very well, and I think that we are looking forward to moving to a vote, to confirm Simon as a candidate for the board. Is there any other discussion from any of the board candidates?
I'd just like to add that, you know, we talked with Simon quite a bit about like how we come to resolution on things that are like, you know, a decision that may not be like the most comfortable as a your parent hat versus what's best for the school. And I really liked how you answered that. I really liked how you honed in on looking at the data, looking at like who will be impacted the most, just very logical, measured approach to the way you thought about things. And I think that's important as a board member that we look at the greater good and we make our decisions based on the greater good. So I like that a lot.
He may have also given us some support and feedback for the new construction program. I was like
Yeah,
across the street that, you know, that I'm concerned about.
yeah.
So that might be helpful too there. But all right, well, I will go ahead and make a motion to vote Simon as a member. We'll go ahead and do I think we'll I need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Marissa will second. And then all those in favor of moving forward with Simon?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Simon, welcome aboard. So now you're fun to end too. Love it. You'll be hearing for both Marissa and Kate very soon. But we're excited to have you. I think that you bring another facet to our team, and I think that's great. So I think it'll be beneficial, and we look forward to our
Get that
conversation.
letter ready.
Yeah.
The slip thing.
Yes, no, Heather and I will meet with you one-on-one with that. To talk about that for sure. For sure. Awesome. All right, so is that all of those? Let me get back over here to the agenda, Marissa.
I think we did cover,
We're onto the principal and
yes, we're on to the administration team's report.
Perfect. Right. Well, it has been a busy month and it's only halfway through, but that's okay. So just give you a little bit of updates of things that we've been working on. As you know, if you've been around the school for very long, you're not only trying to close out a year, but you're already thinking about next year and even beyond. So the administrative team and then the team leads, everybody's been really working hard on, we're updating the staff handbooks, fleshing out some job descriptions, hiring people, poor Alicia, she's ran ragged. And then just moving along with SFS, our financial services, making sure all of that's squared away. We are moving to their back office on payroll, so that's gonna look a little different. Where we've been using Paylocity, so we're ramping up the training to tell staff who have to clock in and clock out and what that looks like. So there's a lot of that going on behind the scenes. We, the administrators worked together and found a new evaluation system. So we got to get the training scheduled for that. It is going to be a place to house all of our evaluations, because right now they're just everywhere in a folder, like, and this will be a streamline for that.
you know what it's called?
I'm sorry.
Do you know what it's called?
Observe for Success. Yeah, and so they will let us upload our
Mhm.
evaluations into them. So it's more about the storage part
Yeah.
of them than anything. So we'll have to have the training for that. I was hoping to have the mental health plan ready to be approved today, but unfortunately OCPS has not unlocked that. So we will have to call a special quick meeting in July because it's due July 25th. But they are kind of dragging their feet on opening that. I'm sure they're busy as well, so as soon as I can get that, it's something we've done every year, so it should be a pretty easy process.
We have enough time at the luncheon, potentially, the 15th.
Yeah, we could
We could
definitely
just
do
do
that.
is we just would need a quorum.
Yeah.
So as long as we could have enough for a quorum at that meeting, we could just call that a special session.
That'd be perfect. So we'll
So-
definitely do that. Well, if OCPS has it. I'm on.
Yes.
Heather, can I ask about, I know we were feeling good about hiring. We had some like, are we still feeling good about open positions?
Yeah, so I think so. I'll let the principals kind of share. I know
Okay.
Kathy's not on here yet, but Eileen is, and I'm gonna let John and her talk about kind of where they're at. But from what they've told me, yes, we're doing really well with
Okay.
that. And just getting everybody processed at this point.
Okay.
Because you may or may not know, but the state is switching over fingerprint places, and so
Mhm.
now we've always went through OCPS, which we still will, but the state has mandated a new system. So in the fall, they're gonna have to come and fingerprint everybody again. And so also kind of working, so that's holding up a little bit, I think, on the fingerprinting side, but we're working through it. So I think it'll be okay for that.
Process is smooth once you guys get up and running though. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy to get through.
I think
With the outside vendors, so
Yeah.
hopefully it'll work.
So I think, fingers crossed. that
Yeah.
That'll be good. And then the student code of conduct, we are revamping that with some new changes that are required by the state. Arnold Law Firm had put that out, and so it just so happened though, we as administrators had already been talking about we needed to update some of our things. And so working with Russ from Arnold Law Firm to add some of the things that we want in there, as well as making sure to meet the state guidelines. So what, if I can get that approved, I would, or if we can get it done by the 15th, he's working on it. I've asked for it to be by mid-July, because we'll need that approved as well, for that. So we'll try, I just said, hey, can you get it done by mid-July? Because I want us to vet through it and make sure everything's good. So we'll have that. So I will let John or Eileen, if you all want to kind of share what's going on in your campuses.
Eileen, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
Okay. Hi guys. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the start to summer. Like Heather said, it was like probably, I mean, I know we say it every year, but it truly felt like the busiest end of the school year. It was just nonstop between, all the things. We had International Day for Lower L, which was amazing. The teachers are always nervous about kind of bringing all the research, like everything together. We had a class that made the Coliseum and the Eiffel Tower, and it's incredible. So hopefully everyone got to see a lot of pictures on Parent Square. It was a wonderful day for our Lower Ella kids. And then our safety patrollers, they got to go to Universal, and it actually worked out because Epic had opened the day before. So the park they chose was not crowded, and they were able to go on roller coasters several times if they wanted to. So that's a fun celebration. They, help keep everybody safe throughout the year, and they look forward to that trip. And then I am insanely proud of our first field day. A huge shout out to the staff who was just so willing to jump on board and embrace this. And then our parent volunteers. We had fantastic parent volunteers. We had some who did 2 days because they had kids in both, and they just had so much fun. So despite, I don't know, like 90+ degree temperatures, everybody had a blast. Like, I've just gotten so much positive feedback about it. Coach C was amazing. The teachers, I think the kids had a great time, and parent volunteers were fantastic. So it was a really fun way to end the school year. Busy and hot, but very, very fun. So we're excited to keep that going, and now it'll be an annual event. And just like Heather said, we are enjoying the slower pace of summer. It's definitely a little bit quieter now. We do have summer camp, and they just did a presentation of Wicked last week. And Kathy and I got to see the rehearsal on Thursday, and we were honestly blown away. We thought we were going to see, I don't know, 2 songs. We basically saw a whole production. It was fantastic. So Piper, Courtney, everybody has been doing just a great job with that. Report cards were released on Transparent Classroom on Wednesday. So if you have a primary or lower L student, you should be able to get in Transparent Classroom and check that out. If you have any issues with logging in, just reach out to Kathy and I over the summer and we'll be able to help. Upper L report cards were sent home the last day of school. If you didn't get it, you can stop by the office and pick it up. We also still have yearbooks. We have maybe 11 left. They're $30 cash or check, and you can pop into the office. We are there Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4, just office hours for the summer. I know, Heather, you'll probably do Steven's whole update, or do you want me to share a little bit?
If you could share some, yeah.
Okay. So just like Stacy said, it's a huge undertaking that Stephen and our facilities team is doing, painting the interior of our entire campus. They hit the ground running, like the students left and they were ready to go. So I think our second floor is almost done, if not completely finished. And we have the new upper L class. It's going to be called Carson. It's next to where Ginsburg is. And Miss Julie is in there getting things ready, setting up, ordering, like just very excited. Anna's been over there helping her too, so really good teamwork. So painting is exciting. They also hit the ground running with construction. We already have holes in floors, and we have a pass through from Casat to our new classroom. It's gonna be called Thomas. So it is just really exciting to see things are moving at a very, very rapid pace. So if you're on campus, you'll see a lot going on. We are also doing interviews. We luckily have had, I would say fantastic. I wish Kathy was here to like, yeah, thumbs up, but we've had fantastic interviews. I think we've truly kind of been blown away by the caliber of applicants we've gotten. Some being Montessori who found it through their children, like who have been going to school, and then they decided, they're kind of ready for something different as far as their career. So we have some who've been in education for a while and really are ready to make that shift. A classroom teacher, a new ESE teacher, Spanish we're bringing back as an elective. So we got a fantastic Spanish teacher that we're really excited about. I think we might only have 2 more teacher assistant spots. So we're feeling really good, like, because obviously our staff is growing, but we've had fantastic interviews. Everything's going well. So congrats to Marissa and Kate on their new positions. And then I know Kathy would echo this, Brett, but truly, like, knowing you as a board member, having you, as a parent, when I taught Zoel, the heart, the soul, like everything you've given to IMO over these past, was it 9-10 years? A very, very long time. You're such a valuable member of our community. And we just appreciate the dedication that you've had to the school. You've truly helped to shape what IMO is now, and what it will continue to become. So I just really appreciate everything that you've done for our school. Know that we'll really miss you, and you'll forever be just part of the story of IMO.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Of course. And I think that's the whole update for elementary. I think I covered everything.
You.
Awesome. All right, I'll go ahead and start with secondary, and I'm not quite sure what day it is anymore. It's been a whirlwind year, and I can't believe it's already the end of the school year. It was a great first year for me, and I just wanted to thank the board. Brett, I appreciate all your help and all your support. And it's only been a year, but you will be missed. I appreciate it. And welcome to everybody else in your new roles. And I look forward to working with everybody. So thank you. And yeah, it's going to be a great year coming up. That being said, the end of the year was a whirlwind. When you were talking, Eileen, I was like, oh yeah, I know that. We had grad venture, we had grad bash, we had kids going to different theme parks, and we had an amazing field day. And I just want to say thank you to all the teachers that helped put that together. That was it was 967,000 degrees outside, and everybody survived. We had no heat strokes. It was great. The kids had a great time. The teachers had a great time. It was a whirlwind. So it was an amazing end of the year. And I just I couldn't be more thankful to everybody that helped out and made it such a successful year. For the students and the faculty. Cindy, I know you're on, so if you wanted to talk more about I know that we've already signed all the diplomas, but I also know that transcripts are ready to be picked up and diplomas are ready to be picked up as well. If you wanted to give any insight as to when those are available.
Diplomas are available Monday to Thursday, except for this Thursday because it's a holiday, from 9 to 3. That guarantees somebody will be here. We've already had quite a few students. And also to remember, if your student has turned 18 since, has turned 18 at all, either they need to come pick it up or they have to give you permission to come pick it up because they are an adult now.
Yeah.
I've had to turn a couple of parents away and say, send your 18-year-old or get permission to pick up their legal records because you are no longer have access to them.
That's funny. I have not seen that yet, but I might chuckle a little bit if I heard that. That might be something I think is funny, but
It happened today.
fair,
So,
fair.
I've been working on registrations. Do you want me to talk about that, John, at all?
Sure, that'd be great.
We've got registrations. If everybody who I'm currently speaking with says yes, we will be right on our numbers as of today. So that is good. In case you didn't know, there are 59 colleges and universities that our kids have been accepted to since you're on the high school campus. When you leave tonight, walk through the lobby and look at the map. It is updated on the walls. I'm sure there's lots of other stuff I'm supposed to tell you, but I can't think of any of it because it's been a long day.
Yeah.
I also wanted to one thing what we could talk about is some of the changes that you might have noticed when we came into the front door. We are trying to enhance a little bit of the safety and security of the front office, and that's why you might see the front desk kind of move forward to kind of put more of a physical barrier between the front door and the classroom. So that's the kind of primary motivation there. There is a lot of painting that's going to be happening on our campus as well. It has not started yet. But some moves have already been made. The front office, I will be actually on the old conference room. That was a nice move. And then there will be more offices in the front, which is where Kay will sit, and some of the folks that are helping out on a rotating basis as well. So lots happening on the physical space. In terms of, we do have our scheduling starting for next year. And, in terms of our personnel, I'm very happy to announce that we have hired an assistant principal. Her name is Kathleen Robinson. She will be starting very shortly. She is moving over from Orange County. She has tons of experience with career and technical education, with ESE, with 504s, and she will be helping out primarily there as well. We're really excited to have Kathleen on, and I think she'll be a great fit. She has a lot of experience with problem-based learning and really does care about kids, and it comes across. It was a unanimous decision by the team, and they were all very impressed with what she brought to the table. So she's not onboarded just yet, but hopefully by next, you will see her on the 15th. So everybody will get to meet her then, and she's awesome. We're happy about that. Also, in terms of hiring, we I guess 90% ready to go with hiring. We've hired all but middle school math teacher, and we have and that was kind of a last minute changeroo. The person that we hired actually was also an art teacher, which was an interesting kind of mix, but found a position at the last minute to be an art teacher. So I can't fault him for that. So hiring for a middle school math teacher, and still a PE. We're still interviewing for PE as well, although I think we will make an offer very shortly on that as well. But have a social worker, have an ESE supports facilitator, moving actually over from the elementary campus, and we're very thankful to have Maria. And we have some new science folks and a new math person as well, and has already kind of jived with the team. So we're very, very excited about some of the new staff that are coming on. So we're thankful, and I think Eileen was absolutely correct that I've been very pleasantly surprised with the caliber of person that's seeking to get an interview with us. So something's working. So it's great. Happy to say that it doesn't seem to be the fall anymore. So maybe we're getting all the good stuff. I'm sure I don't know if we want to keep on talking about schedules and stuff like that in terms of timing, but we can move into that, or we can.
Let me share a little bit with what Stephen had, just to kind of reiterate some of it, and then we'll go into that. You all received his update. I do have a video that he sent me from the cruise ship
Stop.
Ethan.
But it was actually of kids, because I first thought, so I will send that to you via email. He sent it and said, if you want to play it, but if not, I'm gonna put it on the website. But, and I know Eileen had already kind of talked about, that was the big thing, Miss Piper and, how
I
she
saw the
did a
pictures too.
job. Yes, and, I went over there one day last week and I was like, if I have to listen to Wicked one more time, and I love Wicked, but, it was playing over and over and over, but the kids loved it. And so it was really impressive. They are starting a new camp, so he wanted me to put that out there. It's gonna be an art camp with Miss Ram and Miss Vanessa. There's still some spots available, so if you have kids that are bored, send them on. Then there's gonna be another section, around music with Miss Piper again, and then the last one will be outdoor summer fun with soccer from Soccer Shots Orlando. So if you have kiddos that are bored, definitely get them enrolled. Also, the big thing is we're gonna return to a full show choir next year, so we're excited to bring that back. And so you'll be hearing more about that. And then also about how we're gonna do after school clubs. So that'll be coming out, but we are definitely gonna include art club, drama club, and show choir. And we're kind of tweaking how we're running those. So that'll be coming out very soon for signups. And it's going to be tied in with our base program as well. So hopefully we'll get some incentives from staff to want to teach it. But if not, then start opening that up to other experts to come in and help support that, to give all kids. Because that was one of the things from the survey was the 15 slots for art camp went away pretty quickly. So how do we get more kids involved in camp? iPads are here, so they're excited about that. So there's going to be a lot of learning with that. That's one of the things that John, Stephen, and I've talked about, is making sure that staff are really trained in using that instructionally and not just, hey, it's an iPad, but that we are truly moving towards that Apple Distinguished. I don't want to read through everything. The Magic Book Bus is moving along, and so that's exciting. Miss Taryn, she has been phenomenal. So she has been working and she helped install the AC. She's the one who did the opening on the door for us into the classroom. So she's been great. And then of course, as Eileen already said, construction of the new classroom is coming along great. Custodians, man, we can't thank them enough. They have been working really, really hard. And it's been long overdue having the building painted, and so it's nice to see that. So lots of moving parts right now for Mr. Steven and his department, but Courtney working with base and all of this, it's just been phenomenal. So I appreciate that. Yeah, so those are kind of the big updates for us. So I guess we need to go into, I think the next thing on our agenda is the schedule. Yeah.
Yep.
So I sent you all one email and then the state changed their mind a little bit. So we sent another email and then the state's changed their mind again. But I did, so I met with Stacy and we kind of talked through what would be the best option. Well, not really like what do the state guidelines say, there's nothing. So I had an opportunity to meet with John and say, okay, what's going to be the best, most importantly for our kids? Like what is going to help and support them the most? And then also the largest groups impacted, what does that look like? So John, do you want to kind of share through your proposal for that?
Yeah.
Or?
So what we were looking to do, originally we were looking to kind of, I know that the last time we spoke, we talked about altering the schedule quite significantly. And that was kind of tabled for discussion. And then some legislation came out saying that, oh, wait, no, maybe not. And then there was some talk of some other moving pieces as well with our schedule, right? Because there's a certain number of seat hours that we have to have at the high school level in order for us to receive credit. And it was kind of an ongoing thing. We couldn't figure out what was going on with the district as to, why they wouldn't approve it, because we had submitted it, I think, what was it, January 31st or something along those lines, Heather? So, almost 5 months ago. And the district was still kind of dragging their feet. I wouldn't even say treading water. They were literally dragging feet on that. And it turns out that the minutes weren't I guess the hours were not correct. Because we had moved from a 7-period day to an 8-period day in order to make some more room for some electives and whatnot. So we went back to the district and we're like, hey, you know, what can we do to make this work? And it turns out, because we'll be on a block schedule, the 135 hour is, and when we're on block schedules, actually is reduced to 120 hours. So with the 120 hour requirement, we were able to make it so that if we just extended it, to with our Montessori requirements and the seat hour requirements that we have to have for the state, if we extended it 20 minutes from our existing day, we would meet the 120 hour requirements that we need in order to fulfill, you know, the state, in order for the state to say, yep, your piece of, you know, your high school diploma it's certified, we're good. It does meet the state of Florida requirements and legislation. And so after we kind of worked through that, we looked at what was going to be with the idea of moving our schedule back to accommodate students and whatnot. Originally we were thinking at 7:45 or whatnot. Then we moved it to 8. And then once we got the kind of the new requirements that was signed into law, that it's next year, it's going to 8:30. We kind of revisited it as well. And we thought, you know, what's going to be, you know, the least disruptive to our students, to parents. And so we decided we're just going to go from 8:30 to 3:20. So we're going to keep the same kind of, it'll be almost the same. It goes 20 minutes longer in the day, but it does actually allow us to get all the requirements in for the hour requirement and the scheduling requirement. And it is, I would say, it's not really disruptive at all to our current system, and it doesn't really impact as many families as changing everything. The requirements for the school day for the teachers might change a little bit, but that being said, the proposal is from 8:30 to 3:20, and that does get all of our time in.
Yeah, so we talked about at first just doing the 8 to 250, and that was kind of where I was leaning until I talked to John today. But it does cause, if we do that, it helps in the mornings, like parents could drop off here and then go. But the issue becomes, if I have kids at both campuses in the afternoon, if I get finished here at 250 and I'm getting in the car rider line at 2:30 over there, well, we know, and especially in the beginning, it takes a good 45 minutes to an hour over there, then kids are going to be sitting here. And so then it's balancing that too, like how long do we keep our staff? How long do we not? And then, so we just felt like, okay, this meets the requirement. And as John said, so we have 2 things, just so you all know that we're working off of. So 9 through 12 requires seat hour per course, but every student requires so many instructional minutes. So while we were meeting the instructional minutes, we weren't meeting the requirement for the 9 through 12. So that also part of that play, because really we have to look at grades 4 through 12 on instructional minutes, but 9 through 12 on seat hours. So that's the play, and where we are split between middle school and high school, like we have to fit all of that in there. And so going back and forth, we just felt like for kids to get there on time, but you know, it still does. So that's something John and I talked about. We're going to have to really work with families and students to say, tardy is a tardy. So if you're not here on time, that leads to attendance issues, because we can't have that either. You know, that's the other part of it.
And we were still even at the end of the school year, you know, it was still 15 to 20 kids per day that were, you know, a lot of them were tardy. And a lot of it was because of some transportation issues. A couple of them were just, hey, I woke up late, that happens. But it was, there were a lot that, you know, we're going to have to hold firm on that for next year, because that's actually truancy issues, right? That the state can say, hey, listen, your kids aren't here for first period, and we don't want that to be a thing.
So the net difference really from this year to next year is like 20 minutes additional here at this campus.
Yeah, 20 minutes here.
Start times same, end times over there stay the same. This just lets out 20 minutes later.
Right. Those 3:20.
Does that
And
address your staff challenge? I mean, that was one of the big things.
Well,
you
it
discussed a
causes a
couple
little bit of a challenge still. So
Make it
that's,
worse, or does it?
Well,
does it
yeah.
Provide some relief.
it really is gonna make it worse because we were getting out at 3 here.
Yeah.
But, so we are gonna have, so I've already met with Steven to say we gotta work through something for the staff here. So they can get to their kids over there. And so we're kind of working behind the scenes on a plan for that. Even if we let the teachers go right at 3:20, which we know they can't get out of here right at 3:20, but even if we did, it's still gonna take 10 to 15 minutes to get over there. So we will have to house the kids. So I think there's 9 kids, staff kids here as of right now there. We'll have to house them until 3:45. Over there.
You guys
and
can
figure that out.
accommodate that.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna try through base on the side of what that would look like. So it still does make that issue there. Now for the staff over there, for their kids here, it will probably help a little bit because they're not getting out to 3:20, so they wouldn't have to wait as long, so they could run over and get their kid and head back. So it is a little easier for the elementary staff that have kids here.
Do you know how many that is?
I don't. I
Less
haven't
than
got-
10.
Is it,
No.
so you got
Oh, elementary
that come here?
staff, kids that come here.
It's not very, it's, I think, less than 10.
Oh, okay. So,
I
How,
didn't have a lot.
with the 3:20 time, right? One of the things that we had discussed was the idea of our high school students being able to get to sports and things that they needed to after school. How does this impact those students?
I think that, you know, that the rest of the state's moving toward, and there will be some exception where they can go to 8 o'clock or whatnot. I think because the state is requiring later start times, I think that if not this year, by next year, it'll definitely clear up. Because their sports will have to start later because their high school day is going to start later. Because I think there is in the legislation, there's a waiver to start a little bit earlier, but I can't imagine it's going to be, if the law says 8:30. I
Yeah, but
don't,
that,
I don't-
the change in the law here negated the original bill. So the original bill said back in 2023, the original bill said that we are moving all start times later for the health of the students, right? The law that was signed this year negates that. It literally says, we realize that due to financial and logistical restraints, that's not feasible for, there's not enough buses in Orange County or drivers for buses to like get them to those places. So that then the counties are not being held to this law. That's why, so the start time, it doesn't matter for the law per se, as long as we can show a financial or logistical hardship where we can just fill out the form, we'll be able to get around it. That's what the county is going to be doing. They're not going to be moving to a later start time. They're going to be holding it because they don't have transportation. They can't do the buses to make that happen. So I'm not concerned about the counties moving later. I'm concerned with the counties keeping, and us now we're still moving later.
Yeah, I would suspect they're gonna keep
yeah.
probably, if not exactly the schedule they're
Yeah.
running.
The
Yeah.
schedules are staying for them. They're not changing.
so we need to think through that, John. Is that gonna impact us on sports? Athletics?
I don't have very many students that do that, but I can figure out how many.
Is there a way where you could potentially build into their schedule? If that was the case, then they could have early release on like an 8 period block or something. If that was something where they lose their PE because they're getting a waiver because they're playing softball at West Orange.
If that's the case, I would be, because they moved to an 8-period day, right? And they would have essentially 32 credit hours built into their schedule. They only need 25 or 26 or 24. So yeah, I could do it. So the 7th period, or excuse me, period 8 and period 4, the last 2 days, 2 hours of the day, if they are taking, if they're a football player or a basketball player, they can just leave right after that. And that would be their PE. That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Cindy was taking notes on that. I know it.
I'm capturing
And I
it
think
too.
other schools, I know some other schools that do that.
Yeah,
It's not a new idea.
no.
Or I think that's widely accepted, at least.
Middle schools do that as well.
Yeah.
And I think that having that extra period, those lots of extra periods for those electives would allow that flexibility. So Problem solved, Stacy. Great job.
Keeping you on your toes.
I
keeping you-
didn't, I truly did not think about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Okay, I mean, the time, it seems like a late let out for me. I'm like, not to be honest, like for high schoolers to get out at 3:20 seems really late.
Yeah, that's what I went to, that's what I
That's-
talked to John. I
that's
was like,
my-
are we sure? But
But with the
There's something
state law
to
that was
that.
gonna go to 8:30, right?
It would have, but it's negated.
What would,
because of
they
the
were gonna
change.
go till when, 3:30? What would they have gone to in that scenario?
Yeah, I think it would have probably been
7 hour day or 6.5 hour day.
3 probably, because they would have start, I think they could start at 8 or 8:30.
Cause you said it earlier, like they passed that law a few years ago for the health of the students, for the
Right.
right logical reasons. Now we're rewinding it
It's
for
not financially.
financial reasons, which is frustrating, but you know,
They
I
really
think
bust the kids this year.
8:30 is a good start time. The 3:20, the 20 minutes probably adds another wrinkle to it, but
Yeah.
The public middle schools are later than that, right? Aren't they
Mhm.
like 9
middle
4 or
school started
something?
like
9:30 to 4.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
but it's the high schoolers that
yeah,
right.
would be impacted.
But we've got both of those groups, so we're kind of like
yeah. it's like-
averaging it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, it's 20 minutes difference, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What they're used to. I don't know if that's gonna cause a ton of heartburn
Yeah.
for a lot of
Yeah.
families.
What if we give it to them far enough in advance and when they're setting their work schedules, right? For those that are going straight to Publix to get their job, right? Like they can just let their managers know that that's when they get out of school.
Right.
So I think it's just that communication. The earlier we can give it to them, the better it would be for families.
I worked that 4 to 8 shift at Publix in high school for like 3 years. I know it.
Well,
I
okay,
did
get there.
4 to 8, 3 nights a week.
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable with the time frame. It's not that far off of where we currently are. I mean, the kids are still getting to sleep in a ton in this viewpoint, so we are keeping a little bit more of a consideration there. I almost my concern is a no stagger on the start.
that's something that I keep going back, like I see
Even a
both
10 minute,
sides
even
and I'm
15
like,
minutes, I mean, can that be our
you
20
know.
minute? But I don't know, like, can we move the high school back 20 minutes? And
8:40 to.
I mean, so John, I know like my family was a double, drop off this past
Mhm.
year. So I know we had a couple of tardies because, Carline didn't work out or something. And we, got here at 8:27 or 8:30 or 8:35 or something. So I don't know how many students you have we've looked at the data, says how many are dropping off at both campuses to know. Is it 50? Is it 10?
Yeah, I mean, if we're
Yeah.
giving some kids some grace at the end of the day, can the folks who have a difficult drop off get a couple minutes?
I think that's what
Great
John's
thing,
echo on
and
parties
so
was.
Oh,
when
yeah.
people are saying that, like even the sports thing of leaving, so I get that, and I want kids to be able to do sports, like I'm not saying that. But then I also do think about the tardies in the morning,
Yeah.
and so John's probably gonna kill me for saying this, but I think, okay, we already have to work our schedule a certain way to meet the Montessori requirements.
Yeah,
And so even though the state or OCPS approves the schedule, to keep our accreditation, we have to have 3 work cycles throughout the week as well. And so if we're pulling a little bit here and a little bit here, then we're losing content time.
yeah.
And so I have to also advocate for that. And so as we're sitting here talking through this, I'm thinking, okay, if we're going to let them leave a little bit early at the end of the day, and then we know that drop off is an issue in the afternoon, then why would we do that to a kid? Like, at the end of the day, the kid's losing out. I hate for kids to have to start earlier, but I also, if I do 20 minutes at the end of the day and 20 minutes at the beginning of the day, there's almost an hour of
Mhm.
instruction we've lost.
yeah, I would say you wouldn't take it off. I would say you
Yeah.
would slide it.
Yeah,
So like if you have a start time for the high school at 8:30 and you change that to 8:15, then you would be, instead of 3:20, it would be 3:05, right? So you wouldn't change the hours of the day. You're just slide at 15 minutes. And so then that way you have a 15-minute buffer for
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
in the morning. That would be that's my only, like, I'm trying to, like, I've made the drive multiple times, but like trying to drive, like, do you, like you can, I've been there 7:50, 8, right? I'm sitting in the car line waiting for them to move the cones so
Yeah.
that you could drop off your kiddo at 8.
Right.
Which probably means you're pulling out at like 8:05. So then can you as a high schooler get in and get parked and get inside by 8:30? Yeah. But I just you're adding a little bit of like you're adding a push, right? Like if we could give a little bit, like a
You gotta be in
15
that
minutes of-
first couple car line over
you
there.
have to
making
be in the
sure and
first
good
round in
comfort.
order to make it so that
I know at our house, trying to get 4 kids out the door, and
Yeah.
like that wasn't
that
always
would
the
be my
easiest
only
task.
thing is if we could do like a
It's-
buffer between.
Yeah, so then my question is, do we stick with what because we have already met with OCPS first time, if I'm not mistaken, John and Cindy, for them to help us work through minutes. Do we just not stick with the 8 to 250?
That's what we had right now. That's what's in the system now, 8 to 250, but we were gonna just ask them to change it to 8:30 to 3:20 to kind of help out with the drop off. But if
That
it's,
would help, and that would help staff at the end as far as getting to their kid, but then it also tells me that as a parent that has both campuses, I could swing by here, drop off, swing by elementary and be done.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
It's much
Yeah.
easier to get in and out of here.
Yeah.
Car line perspective than it is over
Yeah.
there. So
so we can go earlier.
Day is going to be an issue if we do that because they're gonna be in the car rider line at the elementary campus. We're gonna get out at 250 here.
Well, they would pick up here first and then go to elementary.
Well, elementary.
That's-
Oh, it's
That's
2:30. No, no,
2:30,
no.
yeah.
So that's gonna be the only thing logistically we would have to work through is to say, what does that look like?
Well, I mean, like you have a 30-minute window on that pickup time though. So like if
Yeah.
you pick up at 2:50 at
Yeah.
campus, and by that time it's not crazy, right? 20 minutes after the day. And then you're here, so then you could be here by 3:10 or whenever your time is, right?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like you just need a little stagger on those drop-offs.
So we could either do 8 to 250 or 8:15 to 3:10.
Yeah, I just, if you could just slide it,
No.
you don't need to change your instructional minutes, but
Mhm.
maybe just that secondary
Yeah.
slide.
Do we just want to do the 8 to 7, the 8 to 250? I mean, would that work for,
Already in.
that's in,
Yeah,
but would it work for both campuses? I want to make sure that I do right by all the teachers
Pick
as
up
well.
here. You'd have to pick up over there
First.
at 2:30 and then come here by 2:50.
So the first
So
couple of
that's like
weeks
the
it'll
start
be
of the
it'll be
pickup.
late.
So that's
yeah.
what you have to realize too, like you've got like a 30-minute window, so that's like the start of the 250 is like, yeah, you want to be here by 250, but if it's
Yeah, what's the
3
window for
o'clock, it's
pickup?
not a big deal. For the high
3:15,
school, they're gonna all
3:20?
be out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think we would need to say like to parents, hey, you've got to pick your kid up by, 3:15, 3:20 at the latest.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
250 to 320. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be.
I think the 8 to 250 is probably a better idea.
Better idea. And then that way. the kids
Speaking
can-
from a parent who's done the logistics a bit, like
Yeah.
that's probably that would be less stressful, but.
That's the only piece is like, if I've got to be at 2 places a day and that stresses me out. Like if
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of buffer, I'm like, okay, at least it's staggered.
Yeah. And then we'll just have to get with Kathy and John about staff, children and figure that
Mhm.
logistics out. On the flip side, so we keep talking about the little kids over at that campus, but then also that campus getting over here to get their kids through the carpool or,
Yeah.
Cindy's got a question.
yes.
So we are moving to, and I'm sure Heather, you might talk about this, the whole Easy Suite new
Yeah.
system. Once we get everybody in the system in the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's a sibling feature that I can click that will tell me who the siblings are and what campus they're at.
Beautiful.
And I'll be able to tell you exact numbers. So within the next month, we'll be able to do that, and we can communicate directly with those families and make sure they get that information. So
Yeah.
we've started adding. I'm literally working on forms while I'm listening to you in Easy Suite right now. So I mean, definitely by the time you guys meet the 15th, we should have everybody loaded, and I can give you numbers. But I personally like the 8 to 250 because even if you've got students here who are picking up their brothers and sisters, those kids leave and they get in their cars and they go straight over. They're gonna be at IMO by 3:05.
Yeah.
What time is the car line over there done or start? I'm sorry, 2:30?
In the morning or afternoon?
Morning and then afternoon.
So in the morning, we're 8 to 8:30. And then in the afternoon, we are 2:30 to 3, except for Wednesdays, 1:30 to 2. So we have that whole half an hour buffer. So if you start at 8, are you gonna be like classes, you're in your first class at 8?
Yeah.
So if parents drop off at secondary, they should have no problem then getting into us by 8:30. And as long as you're in the car line at 8:30, you don't have to have dropped off. Like as long as you're in the car line at 8:30, they're not tardy.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, it sounds like if it's 2:50 for you guys or 3-ish, they would need to come to our campus and pick up first and then go to secondary.
Or if it's the high schooler picking up, then that might be a situation
Or-
where they're being based
right.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
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 And we've kept some of those kids in the office for like 5-10 minutes. It's not a big deal because safety patrol is usually out until 3:15 anyway, and so they can kind of sit out with them and wait to be picked up.
We really don't have a rush at the end of the day. We're pretty clear 10 minutes after, so
Yeah.
we're pretty chill that way.
Yeah.
I have been caught in that car line over there.
So
Guys,
we
car
will-
lines really run smoothly. Like it's
It
I
really-
think there's there's a
It
lot
runs, but it's just a
initially.
lot.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot initially, like Kate said, there's lengthy car lines in the, beginning of the year, but by the time we get moving, like we're getting everybody through.
Yeah.
The amount of volume that you handle in such a short amount of time is incredible.
Yeah,
Like
Thank you.
that's,
Yes, TAs,
great.
they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yep. I'm pretty sure I would cause an accident.
So we would say the secondary doors would open at 7:45 and school would start at 8.
If I open at 7:45, I will have assistance from support staff to hold students outside. And then our hours would yeah, so and then we could cover till 3:15 on the back end, so that we would be fine.
Solves your sports problem a
Yeah.
little bit better too,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And the kids that have a job.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's gonna be my recommendation. 8 to 2:50.
I support it. That's teamwork right there.
Yeah.
Thank you for chatting through that with us,
Yeah.
guys, because
I have went all over the place
I
on
know.
that. It's
Well, and
like-
I think that like since the change in the legislator, like it
Mhm.
was, and that was just recently signed, so it's just confusing.
Yeah.
I've been sending Heather bills.
And I know, and I keep, like, oh, it's changed again.
I had it as a vote. Do we need to?
Yeah, we can do a vote. I would say let's go ahead and approve as the 250 for the high school with it okay for administration to change a 15-minute buffer if they look at things and need that change, right? So that at least there's a 15-minute buffer between the two start times. So that would be my motion.
And just don't forget Wednesdays is an hour.
And Wednesdays is an hour early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let Marissa get that all typed out.
Okay.
And that way you guys don't have to come back to a vote. If
Okay.
you look at it and you're like, oh, logistically, we need to.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't want you. I want you to have the flexibility.
Yeah.
It's not Kevin-esque, but it's okay.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ed.
So, and just really quick, since Cindy brought it up, Lily has worked with the team on switching over to Easy Suites. And so, currently we use lots of different platforms. So we have Schoolmint, we have a different payment system. Well, this is all feeding into one. So we're excited to see, yes, that once a parent enrolls, then their stuff is there. It will feed, the whole Skyward thing will be taken care of. Like Cindy and I will do their magic for that. But then if you're a parent, you can sign up for payments and you don't have to do all of the other pieces. So excited about that and get that up and running. They worked really hard behind the scenes, and I know, as Cindy said today, she was like, look at this, I've got this already figured out, and so
So
she's
no
working.
more school pay?
No more school pay,
Yes, I
Cool,
was,
man.
no more school pay.
I was gonna talk about that,
Okay.
where it's been months of meetings and meetings and trying to find the right one and then getting the different departments involved so they could see how it would work for them. And so far, they all came back with good feedback. We finally signed the agreement at the end of May after going back and forth also with them and reviewing the agreement, changing some stuff. And so, trainings, I think one of them started last week. So the things, there's different applications. There's for the food program, there's for field trips, there's for donations, different, collecting other forms of payment. But the main one is Cindy's, which is enrollment and lotteries, because once they're entered in there, it just channels through everything else. And the other cool feature is for field trips, teachers will be able to submit their field trip for approval. Eileen will be in charge of that in elementary, and I believe Kavita will be over here, and once that's approved, it goes through and the parents can fill in their forms through, sign their field trip forms there, the payment all gets done through there, there's reminders, like the whole thing with students of you'll be getting reminders and we will
Oh, we
know.
can send text messages?
Yes,
Oh.
text messages, phone calls and emails, so everything will be out there.
It is the little things.
And each department lead is gonna have access to their part to be able to manage that. And, you know, I'll be the main administrator along with Steven to oversee everything. So we are very excited. I unfortunately have not been in any of the trainings. I kind of let them do it, but I get the recordings. I speak with Easy Sweet, and so far everything seems good.
Hey Lily, does it do progress reports and report cards as well?
No.
No, okay. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering how much we're saving
Yeah.
by consolidating platforms there. That's
Yeah,
Well,
we
Parents
consolidated
Square
school
stuff?
mints and school pay.
cool, that's cool.
Does it do the parent square type communication stuff?
Not to that depth.
No.
Okay.
It's not like a social media, but it does send information, you know, if parents haven't paid for a field trip or even signed a form, it'll send that. If parents haven't paid their student supply fee.
Are we
It'll
having to
send
keep
that.
transparent classroom? Cause I know that was a funding site and we're like, do we wanna keep?
Yeah, so
I
actually.
think I found an alternative, Tracy, which is
So-
MRX, Montessori Records Express. And I think that we can get upper L on it too. We can use it for report cards, planning and recording lesson observations and stuff. And I think we can get the whole school, age 3 all the way through 6th grade for less than we just had primary and lower for transparent classrooms. So it'll be a big lift switching over. Currently downloading data from Transparent Classroom to have as much of it done over the summer for teachers in advance. And again, it'll be, you know, there'll be a learning curve with teachers learning to use it, but being able to get every class on it and having it cost less than Transparent Classroom is certainly worth checking it out.
Yeah.
Kathy, what was the name again?
It's Montessori Records Express, MRX for short. They've been around for a long time. I think we may even have been using them back in 2013, the first time I had a class there at school.
Great for lower L and upper L to be the same. I mean, that's key. So.
Those report cards do not come home really.
My grandma did that report.
They get lost on the way home.
That car line, they're just flying out.
Airplanes, there they go.
The other thing, just quickly, I know you mentioned it, so we talked about the audit, an auditor. So Lily, Kevin and I had a really long meeting together, talking about a lot of different things, but one of the things that came through that was the auditor process. And with the switchover, from one, you know, company to the other, and then working through, the recommendation is that we keep Tim Price as our auditor, because we can legally extend that contract, and so that he would do our 2025 financial audit, and then we need to form the auditor selection committee. The board needs to form that. Nobody from the school can be on that team. And so we can start the process for the 25-26 school year. So one of the things Kevin mentioned, I don't think he's on here, but he mentioned that that audit team can also be the board. So if,
We could just discuss at a board meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, so, that's something that, we talked about. I think that's what we did my first year.
Yeah.
I just brought the audits, we did the
Yeah.
RFP process, I brought them and then you all
Mhm.
discussed and did that.
Yeah.
And so that would be, I think, what Kevin's recommendation would be
Yeah.
as well. I hate speaking for him, but that's how I think we left it, was
That
let's do work.
streamlines it. That sounds like
Yeah.
Kevin.
So he put out the RFP for that and then
Mhm.
bring the proposals through that. So,
Do you know if we would have to clock it as two separate meetings, or if we could keep it within the board meeting as long as it was like an agenda item for
I
that?
think you can keep it in
Okay.
the board meeting as agenda items. And one of the things that could happen, honestly, is the finance committee could
Mhm.
work through gathering everything.
Yeah.
And then bringing it to the board as a selection committee,
Presentation,
which
yeah.
is, if I go back to my first year, which was a whirlwind, but I think that's what we
Yeah.
did was, we did the RFP, sent that out, there was a rating sheet that we
Mhm.
had to go through, and then that's how we selected Tim.
Yeah.
And then one of the things would be my advice is do a contract for like 2 years versus every
Right.
year, because like
This
you're
is a
having
process.
all of the stuff that you
Yeah.
have to submit. So that would be my only thing.
We can only extend him 1 year. Is that what you're saying?
That would be, the way kind of Kevin talked about it. I think we could probably keep extending him, but I'd rather just have a contract in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
For maybe 2 years.
Okay.
You're an attorney, I don't know.
Language, right?
Yeah. So that's something maybe Kevin could clarify for us.
That's what the Orange County rules are. Is it whoever controls it.
Yeah, I think it's the state,
Yeah.
yeah. So we could definitely, but I think that was kind of,
I mean, if you're happy with the work, I know that our previous auditor was a little bit more of a cluster, and then when Tim came in, he's like, what about all these things? And so we
Yeah.
were able to streamline things and gotten a better system. So I
Yeah.
feel like he did a good job for us.
right,
So I don't know about
Yeah.
the cost though, in relation to what we are
his
paying.
cost was about the same.
Yeah, it's probably.
Actually, I think he was probably cheaper than, cause we actually gathered through the RFP, SFS did it for us.
Yeah,
But then when we met with Kevin, he's like, wait a minute, we have to do we can't have anything to do with it.
right, that makes sense.
Is there any requirement that we have to get several bids or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
put out
okay.
for, I think it's 30 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and put that out. So maybe Kevin can,
so we can extend him,
yeah,
right?
we're gonna
Let's
extend him for
extend
this
it.
school year.
Okay.
And then I think what we just need to start at our next meeting
Mhm.
is to say, hey, we wanna start, cause Kevin said something that Tim doesn't do, that probably we should, that that person should be guiding us almost every month throughout the year. And we've never done that.
No.
And so I think he also talked about finding somebody that would
Okay,
do that.
Right.
The other thing that we talked about was the, having somebody to help us advise us on our bond.
Mm.
And so he was putting out fillers for that as well because that was building hope before.
Right.
And so he was going to contact a couple of people he knew
Mhm.
that would help. I mean, we're so small compared to
Right.
a larger company, but he was hoping that maybe somebody would
Take pity on us.
yeah.
Yeah.
He knew of a couple people that would say for a fee, like
Right,
$1,000 a month,
right,
and
right.
I'll advise you through your bond. kind of
Yeah.
thing. So he was working.
We had looked at some companies, I thought you were part of
Yeah.
the discussions with some companies we looked at, like locally here, like
Yeah.
Hunter Park and stuff that
Mhm.
would advise us on bonds. I thought they could also do the audits and
Yeah,
Like
it'd be
that.
great if we
bond
could do
advisory,
something
Yeah.
combo.
is that you that,
That's-
did you dig into, did you look into
No,
that?
what I looked at, finance services when we were talking
Yeah.
about building hope, but I never, like most
No,
people are
maybe
bumping
the last
around,
conversations here, but like,
Yeah.
bumping
yeah.
back on the bond, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll do it.
Different.
Yeah, like I'll
Yeah.
do this, but I don't wanna do that part.
I mean, is it really just making sure we stay within the covenants?
Yeah, he was using all of his legalese terms with us, but he was
Kevin?
saying, yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, he was saying, well, you gotta wait, you gotta do this, and then we can look at refinancing and what do you say?
Yeah, because I know that's probably what he's thinking is the long-term financial piece. How
Yeah.
can we
Yeah.
most benefit?
First,
That's
there
what he wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah, 2032, we can start, but then.
he wants another primary building.
As I was saying, then I was like, we could build another primary building and.
Kevin knows something.
Yeah.
He's pushed another primary building since he came. He's like,
Started to get into real
Kevin's
estate.
taking it for the.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
talking
I'm
about
like,
real estate and
yeah.
all that, so yeah, so I'm just gonna talk about the bond and then he's definitely a lot smarter than that. I will just stay in my lane. of
like, that'll
education.
solve all of our financial problems.
That's exactly what he keeps saying. That's where we need to go.
Another
So,
primary.
Yeah.
yeah.
The
A
money.
lot of
maker.
money.
Yeah. And so I did, so it kind of led me into the finance committee. I did put out an email to the community. We definitely need people on the finance committee. It's really dwindled down to just like 2 people. So if.
Jeremy graduated, right? So.
Yeah, he hasn't said he's leaving. So I asked Kevin, I'm like, is Jeremy staying or not? He hasn't said,
He
but.
got a diploma. He's good.
Yeah, he walked across the stage. Cause right now it's honestly all school members.
Yeah.
And so we definitely want a finance committee that can help work through some of these things with us. So if you know of somebody in nonprofits or any type of financial experience, please contact Kevin to express your interest in being on the finance committee.
Hey, Simon, do you
Yeah. Well, he said, who wouldn't hurt to have another board member? So, but so I guess the biggest thing is making sure that we can secure the auditor for the 24-25. The recommendation is to extend Tim Price for that.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve extending the current auditor's contract for another year and moving to create a selection committee in our August board meeting.
Say the last part one more.
And create auditor selection committee at our August board meeting.
Okay, do a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I heard.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. 3 and 4 checked off for you.
Absolutely. So the last thing, just talking about goals. So I think I said it before, we're gonna meet as an administrative team on July 15th. I would definitely invite you all to come for the luncheon part. But that is where we are gonna take some time to really dig into data to talk about kind of what was our goals for last year and then what is our goals for this next school year. And start planning through that. We will have Melissa, who will be joining us as the Director of Montessori Development. So she'll be a part of that administrative team. And so we'll all be together working through a bunch of things. We'll work through evaluations. We're going to work through goal setting. We're going to look at finalizing the handbooks and all of those kind of things on that day. So definitely if you can be there on the 15th, we would love.
You guys said 11:30 to 1:30.
Okay.
Right, for
Yeah.
us, for us more so, probably not that full time, but
Yeah.
the real question I have for the admin team who's still on here is what kind of power food do you want that day? What are our requests? Are we wanting like a taco bar? John came on real fast. He's got a plan. John's like,
This camera.
I have an idea for you. What do you want? You're like, oh geez, that's not what I wanted to
I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm a big guy and food is okay. Taco bars are great. I was gonna say, yeah, go for the taco bar. You never go wrong with a taco bar.
Eileen, what are you're coming in hot second. So what is
I
that?
am too, because I turned my camera off so I could eat dinner actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, food is for sure a priority. Anything, the bowls, tacos, like I appreciate any food. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone pass up a taco bar.
Yeah, we could probably do some, then they could make bowls out of it too, so if we had a couple different meat options. All right, I'll work with my Peter.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
So I think that is it for the admin portion.
Excellent. We don't have Karen on, right? I think we're skipping the
PTO this week.
PTO update for this month. That leads us to our finance update. Goodness.
Alrighty. So actually, before I start on finance, I do want to say that because of the switch to the new accounting team, we are also switching our payroll system. So I believe we did touch on that before. We didn't want to do it when they came on in April, just because, you know, we're still in the middle of the school year. We had done this last year and it was very fun.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't go through this again. So, I mean, we did talk about whether if they like Paylocity, and I mean, cause I'm happy with Paylocity, then we would stay with them, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they do offer net checks. It is, a part of the contract, and so it doesn't make sense to pay
Oh,
for
it's
Paylocity.
included.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that,
Um,
okay, sold.
So,
Yeah.
so we are transitioning everything starting July 1st. It just makes it easier during the summer because we have less staff. We are gonna make sure that our 12-month employees are updated on that information. And then when everybody comes back in August, we'll do something with them during pre-planning. And that way get everybody on board. It shouldn't be too difficult. It's kind of the same as, you know, clocking in, looking at your PTO, looking at your account and stuff like that. It's just a different payroll system. And luckily this time it doesn't affect retirement or benefits like ADP did because it's not a PEO. So that's kind of where we're at. So anyway,
Okay.
moving on to financials, we're just gonna talk about where we are year to date, budget versus actuals and the fund. I do have SFS on, so Miranda will go into those details. And then if anybody has questions, go ahead. So
I can
I'll-
send a request to share my screen.
Sure, I just got it. Thanks, Miranda.
And I'm Miranda, and this is Cassie, and we're with School Financial Services.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Okay, see if you can share there.
So you should be able to see, and this is April. I'm currently working on my financials now, but you can see that the school cash balance was 771,000. The CASA was 883. Your savings was 470, and the bond was 3 million. So that gives you a 5.1 as cash. Accounts payable. Excuse me, accounts payable is 38,000. That just has to do with your timing issues of when invoices came in and then when the payments were made. So for year to date, we are on 909 for your FTE. Right now, your FEFP is at 85%, which is great because you should be about 83% for budget to actuals at this time. Your capital is over, which I believe that has to do with, when the information came in from the state, it was more than what they had originally expected for charter schools to receive in the capital. You're over in your grants by over 100%. Your CASA is at 90%. Your food service is at 96, and then local is over 100. With your expenses, you should be at 83%, and you can see that you're under a little bit in your salaries and benefits, which I believe has to do with your benefits. Your facility is right on. Your debt service, which your payments are twice a year, so the payments have already been made for this year, so this shouldn't change any. And your other is over as well, but all to all, you're at 83% of your expenses. So you're right where you plan to be for your budget. So right now, your surplus is at 1 million. I've got this little down here to keep an eye on your bond covenant. So you're supposed to be at a 1.1 to a 1 point for your bond covenant, and you're at 1.39, so you're doing good with it. Your testing date for your days cash on hand is June 30th, and you should be at 45 days. And including all of your cash, which you can't take into consideration your bond cash, but everything else, you're at 72 days.
Oh,
Thank you. Hold on.
take that. Over 60. So one of those, when you said 72 days, that's including all of it. What are we including that we will not be including when they test us?
No, that's including, so I did not include in that figure your bond, but everything else is included.
Okay.
Yeah, because it looks like we have $5 million, but really you have the bond cash. in there.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so the community, we do not have $5 million
No.
sitting
Right.
of cash on hand.
Right.
And we are new, and if there's any information the board would like to see any different or anything, please let us know, because we do customize the reports to the information that you like to see.
Yeah, so clearly this is the first month, because this is April
Right,
financial,
yeah.
so as you know, we're going through, we just got the May
Yeah.
one, and so we're gonna be reviewing that this week and then making any adjustments for the
Mhm.
finance committee
Mhm.
as well next week, and then we go from there,
Does the fiscal year end the end of June? Is
the
that?
30th.
Yeah.
June 30th.
And we've already, at least for May, will show, for example, the money that CASA owes IMO, it's already
Yeah.
been paid. And
Okay.
so then they're gonna be doing that every month as well.
The breakdown of the expenses, the other, so that's just, is there a separate tab of those, of the others that on those expenses where that's being kept?
Yes, so when the board gets access, and I was just talking to Lily about getting access to portals and things since we are new, but you'll be able to come on and see exactly line for line. Of course, we have to use the red book. So we lumped up the salaries, but you'll notice salaries will be in all of the functions.
Yeah.
So, and others, just things like your utility, well, no, that's in facilities. It'll be like your instructional materials, any contracted services, any fees, bank charges, things like that.
Okay.
But this is just a screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the grants. Is that's what's going away? That's
That
all-
was
that's still
ESSER.
active.
Remember, we got ESSER
Okay.
in July, so it
Mhm.
threw everything off. So we definitely didn't get that much throughout the year. That was just those reimbursements. That the only grants we'll have left is Title II and Title IV. That will probably total less than $30,000.
Okay.
So that just included ESSER, that funding went away.
And we're not budgeting for it, so
Right.
it's fine. Like here, we were budgeting for that,
Right.
so, but in the next year, we're not budgeting for it, so it's not something we're gonna be losing out on.
Right. We know it's not going to be.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's too many, I can't make it. That's why I had to put my glasses on. Getting old. View is. No, thank you for sharing that with us, Miranda. That's helpful. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on there that we would need to see or would be helpful for the view. I think just being able, like you said, to have access and see some of those others, just to make sure that we just have an eye on the spending there.
And when you do get access, you'll be able to drill down.
Okay.
So we want to be as transparent as possible. And so this will be for the board members. You'll be able to click on, if you want to see what's in this, you'll be able to click on this and it'll pull up. Of course, there's a lot of beginning balances because that's the way we had to record it, but you'll be able to see it.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yeah, and I'll get with Miranda to give them your contact info so we
Okay.
can get that going for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And so one of the things too, just so y'all remember we put money back for the capital projects and those kind of things.
Mhm.
And so when Kevin, Lily and I met, we kind of looked at our banking, the way it's set up, and then we're gonna try to streamline some of that, because like right now we have 2 extra accounts and the money's in there. But I'm actually gonna get with Lily is with SFS and say, okay, each month I wanna pay ourselves. So if you remember, I put back, say, I think it was like $270 some thousand. It was like 2.3% in capital reserve that we pay ourselves each month.
Mhm.
So then that money always stays aside, so that we
Right.
have that. So we'll set that up as well. Local money, you remember we get in January,
Yeah.
February. So we may take a portion of that and just put it back into our savings. And so that we'll be able to always have that nest egg there to ensure that, my goal is, and 2 more years, we're gonna be okay with any big projects we have to have, but then also that we're never gonna be chasing the days cash on hand anymore.
Yeah.
Like that, we've gotta get out of that. Like, we'll always review it, but that we're not gonna keep chasing days cash on hand, that it's
Yeah.
just gonna be a natural flow of our process. And so that is something that will ensure that we do each month, is putting that back.
Does that savings accrue interest? Are we making money out of that?
Very
Not
little,
much.
Lily
It's like a money
called.
market, right? Similar.
0.01%.
Oh, that's awful.
Can we make it?
Yeah,
make
so
money?
I called them, had a conversation with them, and, so I.
Better interest rate just is like a person.
I know.
Yeah,
Not in school.
So
you
that's
know,
one
or
of
in
the
a
things I
business.
brought up with Kevin. I was like, yeah, we can't stay there. So, we are gonna start looking at other
Mhm.
investment opportunities,
Okay.
cause we can grow our money, and
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
good
decent
amount
chunk,
that,
yeah.
it's a good amount that we can grow. And so I have some ideas, but wait for when we're meeting more in depth and things like that.
Yeah. Even like a high performing, savings account
Yeah.
should be over that,
High yield.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's where the bond thing comes in, because we were trying to talk about, like, why was those 2 accounts open, the
Right.
money market account and the other account.
for that purpose, but yeah.
Right, but at one time, was it a higher interest, and now,
Yeah.
like, how do we make sure we
Imagine it's
meet
gone
all of
down,
that,
but-
because.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I was talking with the bank about, and they said, yeah, there's other savings account, things like that, but they're only for a term, and then after that, they do go down.
Ah, maybe that's
So-
what happened. We were on a term
Yeah,
situation.
so that's,
Cause I know it was higher than that.
yeah, it used to be, and so they're like, after
That's
that
Wells
term
Fargo,
ends,
right, still.
yeah,
Yeah.
then it goes down to whatever the current rate is, which is normally 0.01%.
Yeah,
It's nothing.
That's your kids open account for $20 and that's
Right.
what they get.
So I'm not really keen on the whole high yield savings
Yeah.
because it's only for terms. We're gonna start looking at other kind of market accounts that, they would be able to look at and advise and invest and things like that to make the money grow.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what the possibility is on a CD or something, because you can pull that out typically without cause
Yeah.
if you needed it, but you're gonna get a much bigger
Yeah, we did talk
return.
about that. too,
Yeah.
So
So,
we'll see.
okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda.
Thank you, Miranda.
well, thanks.
Anything else, Lily? That's wraps up your.
And that is it for
Okay.
finance.
The only other thing that Kevin, he just reminded me is, they're gonna start working on all of the, finance policies.
All right, the procedure.
Yeah, so we pulled all of the very old ones that were established in 2011, and then the few updated. And so they're gonna start working through that to make sure that we have all of the policies and procedures updated. So that's the only thing he talked about.
And that's like, not even just within the financial team, but
Oh,
like the whole
Everything.
school processes with all financials, like how you order and that kind of thing. 'Cause I know
Yes.
that was some of the stuff. like,
Yeah.
Who
Yeah,
has an
so I-
Amazon card, who doesn't?
Yeah, so I already have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right? We're just gonna go through what they have and see like what we can keep or not, and then integrate what I have already, so, but we are gonna be working on that.
Good.
We are working on that.
Yeah. Just as we grow, it's always just good to
Yeah, absolutely.
make sure we're cleaning that up.
I think that's it for us.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, that brings us to our additional board discussion topics. The first one was increased board of director accessibility and engagement with school leaders.
Focus of this one.
So this one was around like accessibility and input from beyond like being at the board meeting, but like increased engagement on campus or hearing from like another connection with the principals at times, which just kind of a more open accessibility and input.
Okay. I'll take any open discussion on that. Let's see.
Yeah, I think
I mean, only obviously, we're held to sunshine. So
Right.
like the discussion, you can always, I would say any board member is always welcome to go and speak with Heather at any time. Well, like make an appointment maybe. So I don't, but yeah, but go ahead. But yeah, definitely just, I would say if you ever have any questions or concerns or anything you want to know more about, do reach out to her. If it's something related to your own child or something, obviously follow the traditional paths of communication. We've really harped on that in the past, like teacher first, right? Like make sure you follow the paths of communications there. And maybe just being involved at events even too might give you more opportunity to interact with some of the leaders and opportunities there. We are going to, she mentioned a date, so hopefully everybody is available and can put that on their calendar. July 15th, they are doing their admin workshop that day. And so that will be an opportunity. It's not really, because of sunshine, we're not like having conversations on things. We're just getting some time with our administrative team, and we'll be able to meet everybody. We've got the new AP coming in. We've gotten Melissa coming in, so it will give us some time there. So please block that piece of your calendar. I think we said 11:30 to 1:30, so it could potentially be, I hate to say a drop in during that time because I don't want to be interrupting your like focused discussion. So maybe we even say like 11:30 to 12:30, because then that might give, if you could come in for that hour or so. I think that would be good. And maybe we could look at scheduling our retreats maybe a little bit more in advance. That might be helpful because that is absolutely time when we thought our spring retreat was great. And so we can look at maybe trying to get a retreat scheduled.
And the retreat would be like the one we did.
Yeah, like where we had leader, admin, and board together, and I think it was like not one that wasn't that whiteboard, but the one upstairs, and we took really just hound out some of our areas of focus and our goals and stuff. So I think that would be, to get 2 of those on the calendar a year would be awesome if we could do that.
The goal is always have at least one like annual planning kind of retreat, just a broader 4-hour meeting.
Yeah, 4 hours.
But just like a half a day to a full day of just like, let's take goals and updating mission, vision, those types of things to make sure that as a board, work the administration, there's kind of an annual planning process there. So 2 smaller ones probably is even a better approach to it. So you can
I'd love to recommend also that when we bring on new board members, that they can come and spend some time at the school with the school leaders and, get a little personal tour and insight into the runnings of the school.
Yeah, you mentioned you missed it when you first came in, but I said everybody's go watch the movie, right, Kathy? Right, like we got to get them on the movie because our newest ones have not seen that, and it does give such a good historical perception there. But yeah, I think a visit at both campuses, coming in and maybe just doing some shadowing at both campuses would be key.
I think I'll just say I never did that myself.
Yeah.
So I think we're like have some catch up to do with that process.
Yeah.
I think it was in there, but somehow we stopped following that, and I would love that.
Yeah.
Especially I've never been on this campus.
Yeah.
And I have a first grader, so that'd be really cool
Yeah.
to like see how secondaries run and Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to, one of the things that I loved, and I don't know if this would be something we could do. But I joined a staff meeting here 2 years ago at the upper campus, and that was great. It was just, I just sat in on it, right? Like got to listen, got to introduce myself to the staff because they were in the process of rebuilding. So I don't know if even there would be an opportunity for us, maybe like one school Wednesday meeting, because there's an opportunity for the board to come in and just give this, meet with staff that day, that Wednesday, we would bring cookies or something, but, 'cause we always come with food, but,
We
but I
did,
would love-
we used to do that breakfast, or was it bagels with the board or something at the
Yeah,
beginning of
bagels
every
with
school
breakfast.
year, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the PTO has just done a fantastic job and taken all of our things away from us. They have all the
Fire way back.
planned, yeah, so when we get kicked out, but we would love to do bagels with the board this year if there's opportunities during pre-planning, that would be fantastic.
Show up with food and you will not be turned away.
Okay.
Just Kathy, we can figure out the first week.
Yeah.
Parting wisdom,
Yeah.
the things I was gonna share with you guys, but I'll just say it now because it's kind of in line with what you're talking about, was just, as a board member, just, ask the questions and have the conversations. I think don't just limit your
Mhm.
conversations to what you hear in this meeting or
Mhm.
hear like
Yeah.
outside in the kind of the rumor mill. Like if there's there's been a handful of times in the years where there's been like a
Mhm.
big thing where we need, to create some uproar in the community and tough decisions, but
Yeah.
like, you know, have the conversations with Heather. I think she's a fantastic resource. And if you want to have the conversations with John or Kathy, if you have questions about something happening there, but use those resources. I don't think it's going to be something you need to talk to them every month about, but if you have questions, like send them emails, set up a phone call, but do your due diligence and kind of do some fact finding about, because there's always like
Yeah.
multiple opinions or points of view on what's going on, and don't be afraid to do some fact finding.
Okay. Perhaps maybe we've got a lot of good ideas, but maybe we make this a board goal.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of how do we
That sounds
capture that.
great. Yeah, like,
We implement some of this.
it really comes back down to like engagement. I think that, we've kind of gotten away from that piece because we were just having to like work to help put out so many fires with some things the last couple of years, right? Like, so it'd be great to increase, our engagement with the leadership and with the schools, right? And so I think that would be a good board goal for us for next year. And then we could put some of those caveats on there, right? Like that pre-planning breakfast, 2 minor retreats that we can get planned in there. Summer luncheon, if we can just, right, make that part of the normal process, then it does give more access and it's easier to have conversations with people when you have more interaction with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Anything else on that one from anybody? Okay, the next discussion topic was around, we started talking about this volunteer fair or idea/volunteer fair at Meet the Teacher at our May board meeting. So just want to just talk about that further because we probably need to plan, if we're gonna do it in August, we probably need to like make a game plan about that.
And we have those dates. I don't have them right in front of me, but I think we planned the dates for Meet the Teacher already.
You want me to email them to you?
That would be great. I know, I would say we already did once, but yeah, if you have them handy, it would be great. Actually, I found it, Cindy. Thank you. It went out on Parent Square. I don't know if you want me to send it to you, Marissa, to share, but August the 6th is the main campus elementary. Lower L starts at 5. And then August the 7th, which is a Thursday, upper L is at 5. And then also on the 7th would also be the main campus primary, and they have that broken down by pre-K, so it starts at 5, and then kindergarten starts at 6. And then also on August 7th is high school.
What
Yeah.
time is that?
That one starts at 5, and the last one, so they're doing it by alphabet. The last one starts at 6:30. But I can email this to you too, if you all want it.
Yeah. So we'll need to divide and conquer
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I feel comfortable knowing that I can drop my kid off wherever and he'll be fine. So I'm happy to go to the high school one too.
I am traveling that week.
Okay, so and it was at lower L is the 6th. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
Okay, Meg.
Does anybody want to take the 6th? Who has lower L kids?
I have lower.
What do you, how's the 6th look for you, Rob? Are you on vacation?
No, I'm not on vacation. Should be done by then.
Like Sarah.
Yeah,
does.
he's
Yeah,
got
he's got
one
lower.
going into 1st grade, one going into 3rd grade.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
he's on
but
yours.
it's, yeah.
They're the same age as my
I
kid.
mean, back. Yes.
I can
Okay.
help if needed.
And so you could join the upper L on the, because that's where you'll be going. So that would be a good part. Yeah, yeah, 4th.
Stacy Carla just said she can help.
Okay. Awesome, Carla. Which one, Carla?
On the 6th,
The 6th. Oh, with lower L. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, so that gives us some people, and then I'll, if anybody, I'll go to the high school. That's fine.
And the purpose. I think we talked about
Having signups available there
Right.
for like committees almost, right? Like we wanted to get people like involved in committees.
well, the finance committee, right? We heard a need for
Yeah.
that. The fundraising development committee, we need a lot more people.
Yeah.
I think grants, I mean, all of our committees, all the board committees.
So what we could do is we could have just a sign up sheet, right, where they have like interest in their name and their email and their phone number, and then we can have where they can sign up underneath each of those different categories to try to get some interest there too.
If we've got our schedule set for next year, should we have some kind of printout where we
Yeah,
can
we can
have that
include
information?
we'll need to update our,
With our fundraising QR codes for the one that's currently running, right? We could kind of have a little
put
one
together
sheet.
pamphlets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Updated materials. And that will be here really quickly.
Yep.
Um,
I think we also brainstormed just their own ideas that could turn into additional volunteering committees. I'm trying to like remember.
right, I know. Yeah. Like we were trying to get like their ideas on what they would like to participate with. Is that what you're thinking? There.
I think what we had discussed last month was just sort of making volunteer opportunities be an absolute hot commodity and sort of message it as here is your best chance to sign up.
I love that. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were saying that we we're going to push it even more because if they volunteer on a committee, we can count that as volunteer hours.
Right.
Right. So that was one of our pushes on there. Speaking of that, have we found a way to log volunteer hours?
Yeah, Stephen has actually put that on the note to follow up with him. So he has been working through that.
Saw him pushing it in the last
Yeah,
step.
so I think he has the system built and ready. And so I have on my agenda with admin is to sit down. One was to plan out big events throughout the year. So then we can get that out there like, hey,
Yeah, the calendar in advance,
Yeah.
right? We talked about that.
And so we know these opportunities, and then what are some other classroom opportunities, after hour opportunities that we can start
Mhm.
out at the beginning to say, hey, here you
Okay.
go.
I will take on the volunteer sign up document and like some materials to support that process. If you could take on our board bio page that we
Mhm.
has our pictures and maybe just update that for the
Yeah.
new year. Does that work?
Yeah, and I can collaborate with you on like the committee verbiage and
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That works.
I think we should also use it as an opportunity to say, right, to garner excitement, right? Because we're talking about a bunch of asks, donate, fundraise, volunteer, which is all great, but why?
Why?
Right? How do we garner that excitement? What have we done as a group, as a team? We asked for feedback in a survey. What are the results of that? What are we planning to do around that? Here's how they can help. I just think it needs to be a little bit more, need to market some wins, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Help make the school better for your child, right? Like that's what you're doing it. That's the piece. of it.
Yeah. And as a community, this makes us stronger, right? This is
Yeah.
why the school is so great, because we've done all of these things and we do it together.
Yeah.
With our bios, will we also have like our contact information and stuff, so people know who to reach out to if they have questions or if they come up with
Mhm.
ideas?
Yeah, we can put that on that form.
And we probably need to update the website too.
Oh, with the board.
Yeah. 'Cause I
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of changes on that one.
Well, we can update it with the new committee name or the new
Yeah.
the executive team too, so that will work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that gives us some tasks to work on for that.
Okay. All right, the final one was the meeting schedule. Do we
Mm.
want to tackle that tonight?
Did you created a mock, didn't you? Did you do a mock?
I sent over kind of what we did last time we talked
Yeah.
about it. I don't think we varied that much. The first Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then we didn't do December and we
Right.
didn't do July. I mean, maybe we want to be proactive about when we do these mini retreats too. When we
Yeah.
think about that schedule.
Yeah, I think that, when did we do it this year? I thought that timing was good in the spring. Was that March?
March or
February,
February,
maybe.
Yeah.
It was before break.
I want to say.
It may have been March, but it was like once.
Yeah. March 2nd. Yes, March 2nd. 12 o'clock. I mean, I think it's good to get into to do it before the spring break pieces too, so that works out well. I like that kind of concept. So maybe like first Sunday in March, we could look to keep it that time frame.
Maybe like one before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. November.
I think we should bring back the cookie swap because I'm a little mad I never got to do that.
Cookie swap in November for Kate.
I didn't even know that. There were cookies.
Yeah, there were
That sounds like a
cookies.
Kristen.
Maybe November 2nd, that Sunday? We can,
So that'd be the first Sunday in November.
yeah, just so we can. And that we can, and I'm writing down cookie swap.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You will be judged on your quality.
So I just made a new chocolate chip cookie recipe that my family actually really likes, so.
Don't judge me when I bring in Gideon's. You know, like, oh yeah, you know. Oh,
One
goodness.
time I baked peanut butter and bacon cookies.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that is delicious.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Anything with peanut butter.
It's been a while though.
So Stacy, I can make a skeleton,
Yeah,
and send it over to you guys.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, like, I know that while you guys are working, that would be on my ask list too, is like for the, not the school events calendar, but for the all of the other school events, things that you guys have going on, like not the PTO events, they have their
Right.
stuff, but the other
Yeah.
events. Just so we can get that out to families too,
Yeah.
because I think that would be helpful to have that information in a year in advance too.
And are there any like hard recurring deadlines we have as like, we know that by December 31st of every year, we need to have signed this document? Like, are there things like that that we
Yeah,
can?
OCPS will put that out.
Okay.
We typically get that in July.
Okay.
Some of them I know beforehand,
Mhm.
like the mental health plan,
Okay.
but then they hold it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I know mental health is always gonna be due at the end of July. But I just checked again today and it's there, but it says, well, we don't have access to it yet. And so for the most part, we'll try our best to know those ahead of time and be able to put those on the agenda. So I'll have that in July as well that we can put out there, but like we had already met, gosh, it's been a couple months ago, but Kathy and I think maybe Eileen was in there, I think Steven, but we talked about bringing back some Montessori education night,
Yeah.
like months and those kind of things. So we've got to sit down and finalize some of those and, you know, have a hybrid, because that was one of the things from the survey was that parents wanted that option of the hybrid.
And they can get volunteer hours if they attend, right? And
Yes.
that what we said, like if
Yeah.
they attend one of those sessions, we would give them a volunteer hour.
Yeah. I think a
so-
couple of them were announced in pretty last minute too, so it was real hard to get.
20 hours, you get an hour for going to, I feel like that, like you're
Yeah.
supporting your child.
Yeah.
At that point, we could.
So just go back to that is that we're gonna try to have those planned. in
Yeah,
advance,
pre-planned,
to say, this month we're gonna focus on this, and this is when it's gonna be. So we can kind of have that for parents.
Yeah.
Unless we want to increase it to 25.
Yeah.
People will say,
Yeah.
up pitchforks.
Yeah,
again,
there we go.
what Stacy's doing. No, that works. That sounds good. All right, so that gives us some things to work on too.
Okay. I'm gonna take a quick look at our board goals. Where are we at? Okay, so I mean, I know we're gonna have another candidate interview as well.
In
August.
August.
Is that Bosch for?
Yeah, Bosch
Yeah.
is planning on interviewing him.
Yeah, because we got maintain a strong set of board members between 6 to 8.
And so I'll just announce Carla will be leaving us in August. Will be her last meeting. So so that will have an opening at the August period too.
We'll miss you, Carla.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you, guys.
She said she's gonna still help with fundraising.
Yeah.
Yay.
So gonna-
All right.
Not completely kicking her off.
I'll continue to be involved. I'll be on these meetings just as a board member. The time commitment, it's just not aligned right now with everything I've got going on.
No worries.
Should that be part of our meet the teacher information too, that we're always accepting?
Always recruiting.
Always recruiting, yeah.
Yeah, with you on that. Well, that's good.
mean,
So we've
Remind everybody, board member, you knock out all your volunteer hours.
yeah.
your volunteer hours.
I need to volunteer at all.
Covered plus.
In one meeting. No. Oh, goodness. No. I don't think that's the way to swing them.
There's a lady who was
The
board
cookies might do
president years ago, before I joined, Mary Catherine, when she was one of the original parents that started the school. When she left, she came and asked, she goes, hey, she put in 1,000 hours probably of volunteer of just her time. I really need to knock out these two. Do I have a, can I credit all these years of like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
you're good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. All right, so are we doing any committee updates tonight?
Yes, Stephen and I and Carla met our reoccurring committee on development fundraising. Okay, so Stephen's on his cruise, but we talked because we have the technology now.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of start fresh on, when we come back to
Mhm.
campus and start the cycle then. And so we discussed focusing on electives and enrichments as our focus. I know that was something that was in the survey. I think it's something that comes up. I want to make sure like we're on the right track with that. We feel like that would be attractive to most parents. And we view it more broadly as like an, a pool or endowment for, electives and enrichments as necessary. So we discussed that. We definitely want to gain more committee members and volunteers so we can do things and, be more visible to get, get growth there.
No, it's great. I think that's good focus.
I've
Any
got
other
nothing,
thing?
no.
No, okay.
The grant committee should not meet.
Let me close out for the executive.
Yeah, executive committee, well, we've just altered our structure, but so we have a new vice president and secretary moving forward, so that's exciting. When we originally opened to do the executive director search, we had helped to kind of aid in that process, but thank goodness we didn't need a new ED, so that saved us. So then we just turned it over to Heather, and she was able to benefit and find and re-interview Melissa, and we'll be bringing Melissa on. So we helped her get started, but she really finished the game for us and did all the negotiations, so we didn't have to do any of that. We will work with Heather to continue to support the plans moving forward, and make sure she's supported in that. But I don't think we have anything else for executive committee.
I just have a quick question. Are we, I know Heather, you had said that you were going to stay on for 1 year. Are we still planning to launch an executive
Yeah.
director search next year for 26? Okay.
Well, we'll see how this goes.
Okay, great.
We'll read
Could be in
about
like 90 days.
But,
We can't find an
Yeah,
executive
yeah.
director in 90 days.
and that was so I didn't even mention it earlier, and neither did John, but I will say Melissa, she hasn't officially started yet, but John contacted her. So we had our team leads here, they're planning a couple days. John is bringing his staff back in a couple days early. He found a way to do that, to focus on Montessori and truly bringing the beginning of the year for students and getting them acclimated into that. And so he called Melissa up. She's like, absolutely. So she helped plan. So she was a part of that too already. So I'm excited to see that to trickle over into the secondary. Not that that hasn't been Montessori, I'm not saying that, but like really diving into that and working with the staff of figuring that out.
So what is the timeline with Melissa?
She'll be here July 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're all off that first week, and then I'm excited. I know Kathy and Eileen are working to hire a dean. And so I know that, so hopefully the whole administrative team will be ready to roll on the 15th.
Yeah,
Come back.
it's gonna be a powerhouse. It's gonna be good.
I also like to just real quick, Melissa's already been helping out with our planning for next year, helping our teachers figure out, kind of some Montessori focused things. So she's awesome. I'm really happy to be working with her.
Great. Well, hopefully we're sharing the load, right? Like that's the whole goal is that we get too much load on everybody's plate. So hopefully this helps kind of share that load, and as you work through your meetings this summer and get job descriptions allocated and who's doing what, I think it'll balance things out a little bit and give us a little bit more quality, right, with what everybody's doing. So I'm excited for that, and hopefully de-stress some too, where you can handle the load. So no, it's exciting. That's good news to hear. Thanks for sharing that, John.
And also, Marissa, Lily's gonna get with you. She's taking over the finance, Zoom calls for the finance committee. It's
Okay.
under my account right now and it won't let me switch since I did it out. So she'll send you the updated to put on that link.
Oh, on the calendar?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
For that. So she'll have
Is that 9 now?
Well, yeah, well,
Well,
I'll straight-
anyway,
okay.
you'll be.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing, so,
Buck just got rid of
maybe
it.
stop me.
Yeah. All right, so who's doing the secretary email? for
Well,
now?
Stephen will have to, we'll train before we officially make any switch because, yeah, I think that would
Okay.
be a little bit.
Okay.
Well, and I think he wants to get rid of the secretary email and just do names because like, that's
Oh,
one
yeah,
thing. I don't
yeah.
think that like, I don't get half my emails because I only get the president emails. I don't even get Stacey
Oh,
Williams
shoot.
emails anymore. So
Okay.
anything
Yeah.
that goes there, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so I think that as I phase
I'll
out,
just
then
say-
that will be, then whoever is the president of the time would, the problem is you don't get the old emails.
That's
in
what I was
case-
just gonna say.
Yeah,
I
so
do
we're
a
gonna
lot of
archive it so you
searching.
can have it, I
Right.
think is what he was thinking, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a
We
little
also-
chaotic that way.
I think, Marissa, you were also saying that like the Zoom
Yeah.
is connected to the secretary
Yeah.
account, so like I'll need access to that. But I guess as long as if the email address is still active, I guess. But maybe just,
Share the
we
same
just-
password. or
yeah.
something.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a
No.
lot.
That's
We'll
fine.
need to sit down.
Yeah, because
My
there's
IT
some
hat, you can't-
secretary of like history that I find and stuff required.
Yeah, same with the president, vice president.
Yeah,
Yeah,
counselors.
like all of
10
those.
plus years of email history.
I know,
there.
But then you have Kevin who will say, I never check the treasurer. So
Yeah.
I know to always send it to Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would,
So I send it
it's
to
the right thing
both.
to do to move to the
So,
right name. to
yeah.
Kevin's,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Just
because
figure
right
out how
now
to
I have
organize
Patrice
it.
and Dave's emails attached to mine as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's,
It's a lot.
so eventually, when there's 10 down the line, it's gonna be a lot to
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep up with.
That's why also we created one for finance called accounting.
So then if she left, it would always.
Everything
Right,
would be
yeah.
there and all the accounts would be under that email
Yeah.
versus just
Your
mine.
name,
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
that's why I don't want to even have my Stacy Williams one, I'm like, just send it to the president, because that's where I know where everything's at.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe we could set up a forward,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, like it
Yeah.
automatically forwards
Yeah.
to.
I think that's what he was thinking to do.
Yeah. When he gets back, we need to probably have food with
Yeah,
him.
we do. We'll put that on our call down,
Yeah.
figure it out with him. All right, well, I'm not closing this out tonight. Tonight's Brett's turn to close this out, so.
Yeah, thanks. I did want to share a few thoughts with you guys, right? First of all, I just wanted to say thank you. This has been an opportunity that has been truly a treasure and just a great sense of joy and accomplishment for me personally. And so I'm just honored to have had the opportunity to work alongside all of you guys. This is a great team. I feel really confident in the leaders that are in this room and that are on the Zoom call today. This is a strong organization with a lot of good opinions and thoughts that if we continue to come together and collaborate, this organization is going to just continue to flourish. I've seen this organization grow from, a small strip mall, up to where we are today. But if I think back about it, it's really the grassroots start that I kind of always come back to. There was a group of 4 or 5 parents that came together and really made this school happen from nothing, right? And I just always kind of keep in my mind that the grassroots organization is really who we are, and it's kind of central to the culture of this organization, right? We've had opportunities in the past to grow beyond this campus, and for good reasons we've not gone down those paths, right? And I think this is who we want to be as a grassroots organization. We've also talked about like wanting to expand this board beyond just parents of this organization, and haven't had a lot of luck doing that. But at the same time, it's also helped us keep true to that mission as well. Of like you guys are the folks that care the most about this organization, that are truly invested. And so, I just think don't forget where we've come from, and if you guys can look at that, use that documentary, and just remember what the core culture of this organization really needs to be and should be. I think things are going to be fantastic. There's just 2 things I would remind you guys that I've always used in my thoughts and decision making as a leader on this board, which was kind of ask two questions when we've got some key decisions to make, right? And one is is this in the best long-term interest of the financial stability of this organization? Because we have a responsibility to keep the doors open, right? If we don't keep the doors open, none of this exists. But is it also in the best long-term interest of our students, right? And I don't think those questions come in any priority order, and they're not mutually exclusive. I think the two of those things together help ensure that you guys make the right decisions, and decisions you can stand by, right? As if you can answer those two questions together, you're going to make the best decisions along the way. So the last thing I was just going to say was ask questions, do your due diligence, right? Take your parent hat off when you come in the door, and remember this is a $10+ million organization now, which is crazy. Think about the operation that we are, but we're here to help support all the students in the broader community. So ask the great questions and talk to the right people, right? Have those conversations. So it's been a pleasure. I'm stepping away, but I know you guys are going to continue to be successful. I'll continue to be cheering you guys on, and my family is just grateful for the time we've had in this school, in this community. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Have a great night, everybody.
All right.
Oh, adjourn at 8:47. Thank you, everybody.